Hey girl, hey. No, it ain't canceled. T Foss, is it Foss? I got my favorite water back. Amen. Hey girl, hey. Good diggers, leaders, progressives, and dreamers. Hit the share button, niece. Hit the share button. Let me get us set up. That's what we're discussing tonight, chapter 5, envy. Please hit the share button. Please hit the like button on the video. Oh, it's over here. Please hit the like button, niece. It doesn't cost you anything. My love don't cost a thing. Hey, Bianca Cozy. Hey, Deborah Osborne, Miss Queen, Making Marks, Barbara Williams, Rita. Excuse me. Richard Outing. Richard, thank you for ordering that book for your friend. I think her name was April. Pete Marcel. Hey, girl. Hey, hey, boy. Hey, hey, Marquetta. Hey, XO. Gemini Lady. Hey, girl. Hey. Rita, talking about where were you last night? I was working on this panel discussion with Derek J for this coming Wednesday at 9 p.m. We're calling it the unspoken dating rule. No fats, no film. I'm going to drop the link down here if you'd like to join the conversation tonight. We're going to be talking about chapter 5, Book of Jules. The chapter is called Envy. It's called Envy, niece. Let me see. It's right here. Hi, Mimi Alvarez. I didn't see you. Sorry about that. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb because we have some conversation to have. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. It's Friday, niece. Let me say my thank yous. I'm sorry. Just rude. Cheatham, Crystal's Lash Room. That's the business. Crystal's Lash Room. Datis, my girl Datis, Old Faithful. And Jose Roble. It really wasn't a $5 Friday. He sent me a little something for my birthday. I appreciate that, Jose. My birthday is not until Monday, but he put in the memo, happy birthday weekend. That's what he said. So thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. The cap is here. It's the writer. It's the writer, niece. Let me get us set up so we can get to talking. I want to tell you about, where is the, oh, here we are. This one I'm looking for right here. All right, I'm going to drop this link down here once again. If you read chapter 5 from Book of Jules, it's called Envy. Or if you listen to the audio version, because the books are available on audible.com. Yes, I'll check my P.O. box on Monday. I promise to do that on Monday. Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is the Facebook and YouTube live versions of So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. So we're on chapter 5, Book of Jules. So we're almost about halfway through because there are 11 chapters in the book. So we're almost halfway through, right in the middle. And this chapter is called Envy. And what I will tell you about this chapter is, remember when I first started promoting the book, I was telling you guys that Book of Jules was going to be 10 chapters. Well, wouldn't you know it, when I sent the manuscript to the editor, I'd said to her, I wanted her to go through, and because some of the chapters were really, really long, like the love and fear chapter, the dating chapter, both of those chapters were pretty long. Not too long, but they were long in terms of there was a lot of information, and I didn't want you guys to get lost in those chapters. And explain to her when I started the manuscript that I wanted her to condense. I think it was the I don't remember what chapter it was that she condensed. I think it was the faith. I don't remember what chapter it was, but she condensed it. And what she did was she broke up one of the chapters that I had written, and she created a chapter, which is this envy chapter. So originally there was no chapter called envy, but when I looked at it, I fell in love with it because I love the way, I mean, it was everything that I had written, but I just love that after she read it, she realized that it was best to be called envy. And she said to me, listen, if you don't like that chapter name, of course you can call it something else, but that's what it feels like to me. And it was a great suggestion, so I kept it. So the quote that opens chapter 5 for envy is, gratitude leaves no room for envy. And I want to hear your thoughts on that, because what I was trying to communicate there, because I believe that there's a distinction between jealousy and envy. Those are two different things. I believe that I've been envious of things, and you've probably been envious of things, but envy is just like, oh my God, like you just kind of marvel at it, and you still want to see the person or whoever it is or whatever it is to exist, to happen. But you would love to, you imagine yourself in that position, but not in a way that you want to take it from that person. That's jealousy. I think that's jealousy. So that's the distinction. But with that being said, if gratitude is in place, there's no room for envy, because if you're truly grateful for your life, if you're truly in a space of gratitude, then there's no room for envy. There's no room for you to look at something else, another situation, another person's life, and envy that or want that life for yourself, because you're in a space of gratitude because you appreciate all that you have in your own life. And there's a quote, I think it's Joseph Campbell, that said, what is the quote? I just drew a blank. I think the quote is, I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm gonna mess it up, and I don't want to mess it up. Joseph Campbell. It's something about, let me see, Joseph Campbell. It'd be a shame if that is not his name. Joseph Campbell quote. None of my people in here watching know the quote. Y'all don't know that quote. Y'all don't know the quote. Where my people at? Y'all usually know this stuff when I draw a blank. Famous quote. Something about I don't know, somebody's listening, probably like, oh my God, I know exactly what he's saying. And you're probably trying to tell me through the system. Y'all really don't know the name. Something about the joy of, is it something about joy? I should have never stepped out here. I can't find the quote. I can't find the quote that I'm looking for, and you guys are not helping me. I think it's the joy of, something about the joy of being yourself. Why would, something to the effect of, why would you want to be someone else when you get the joy or the privilege of being yourself? It's something along those lines, but I can't recall it right now. So anyway, this chapter opens, the very first paragraph in this chapter. It starts like this. In the book, A Course in Miracles, the author, Helen Schucman, says, when you give to others to the degree that you sacrifice yourself, you make the other person a thief, because they're stealing from you what you need and they don't even know it. Now, I first came across that quote because Iyanla Vanzant had said it, I think on like a Super Soul Sunday or one of those conversations. And I was so moved by that quote, and it just stuck with me. And when I was writing this chapter, I remember thinking like that has to go in here because oftentimes, and I'm gonna give you guys a very basic generic answer. Fortunately, I have some Fiji tonight, but there have been plenty of times that I've been here drinking Fiji and I'll have guests over, I'll have a friend over or somebody, and I'll see you guys in the comments saying, well, why didn't you offer your guest a Fiji water? And my thing was, Fiji is for me. Fiji is for me. That doesn't make me selfish, but there is water here for you to drink. It's just not Fiji. There's Deer Park, and then there's water from the tap. But see, oftentimes we've been conditioned to think that, and it starts with childhood. We've been conditioned to think that we have to share everything of ours with everyone, right? And it starts out as, like when we're children. And I highlighted a part where I say, as children taught to always be nice, play nicely, and share. As we form as adults, we believe that we must always share our time and possessions with everyone around us when asked. It's almost like we're predisposed to people pleasing. It's almost like you don't even have permission. You don't even think you have permission to say no because it's a friend, because it's a family member, because it's your mother. You sometimes feel like you can't say no to certain people in your life. And there's a chapter that I don't know if we got to this chapter already, the chapter called Growth. I don't think we got there yet. Did we get to Growth yet? No, we haven't gotten to Growth yet. Growth is the very last chapter. And I've grown to a space in my life, which I'll talk more about it when we get to chapter 11, that I'm not in a position where I feel that I have to people please. I've learned that just because I say no, that doesn't mean that I'm being mean. And I've recognized, I've begun to recognize when people say no. I mean, people say yes, but they really want to say no. How many times have you said yes to someone, but you really wanted to say no? And was it because you're trying to people please? Was it because you were raised, as we all were, to share? Like when you see children and they're playing and they don't want to share their toy. They could be playing with that toy first. And then you bring one of your friends over and they have a small child. And then that small child now wants to play with your child's toy. And you tell your child, oh, come on, be nice, play fairly, let him share. Go ahead and share it with him. But if your child was playing with it first, why do you take it from your child? You're teaching your child to people please. And so we've been conditioned to believe that. So going back to this example of the Fiji water, when people come over here, this Fiji is for me. Now you can have some water, you just can't have this water. But I see your comments and oftentimes I'll see you guys saying, oh my God, you're so selfish, you're so stingy. No, if you want Fiji, you bring it when you come over here. You bring your Fiji. You bring yours, because this one's mine. And so, and I even had to grow to that space in my life where I was able to say no to my mom. And oftentimes you, like I was predisposed or preconditioned to believe that just because it's my mom that I have to say yes. Just because she asked me something. And I don't even mean about things all of the time. Sometimes this is about your time. You didn't work the 40-hour week, 50-hour week, however long you work. Shit, I don't give a damn if you work 20 hours. If you work part-time. You just got home, you're relaxing, you don't want to do anything. The phone rings, it's your mother. You feel compelled to answer because it's your mother. And because you only get one mother, all of these things that you rehearse in your mind. Well, you only get one mother, let me go ahead and answer the phone. Or, you're taught to believe that, well, it's your mom, and so you need to respect your mom, and because the Bible says, you honor your mother. Okay, but right now I'm sleepy and I'm tired and I don't feel like talking to anybody. So I'm going to let mother go to the voicemail and I'm going to call her back. Or someone calls you, your mom or whomever calls you and says, hey, could you run to the store for me right now? It's not even something that's urgent, but you feel like because they want it right now, that you now have to get up and go and run that errand. And what I'm saying is there's beauty in being able to say, this time belongs to me. It goes back to what I'm saying right here. When you give to the degree, I'm sorry, let me go back. This is A Course in Miracles. These are not my words. When you give to others to the degree that you sacrifice yourself, you make the other person a thief, because they're stealing from you what you need for yourself, and they don't even know it. And that's not always financial. Sometimes you give, you loan money that you don't really have, that you can't really afford to loan, but you loan it because it's your mother or because it's your best friend, and somehow your relationship hinges on whether or not you loan them money or not. But the reality is, when you give to the degree that you're sacrificing, that you have to make a sacrifice to make that happen for them, then you're making them a thief. You need to be able to say no. So that's what I wanted to say there. I'm going to bring in Andrew. Andrew is here. Andrew, if you want to join the conversation, please click on the link right there if you want to contribute to the conversation. Hey, Andrew.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm great. So what did you want to say about this? Is there
this? Yeah, this one is good. And I heard what you were saying about being a people pleaser.
Mm.
So some people think that at some times I am a people pleaser, and I think where that comes from is, like, I was a person in high school who felt like everybody liked them, and that I was going to keep that up. Every single group of people likes me. No one hates Andrew. Andrew's the funny one. Andrew's the one that makes everyone laugh. It wasn't until I got out of high school and started living life that I found out that some of those people were pretending to like me, but I didn't know that. And so it's like, they're pretending to like me, you know. And so as I'm reading this chapter, it's just kind of hitting me, but I'm like, now I'm getting to the place where I'm like, okay, Andrew, you cannot, because now I'm starting to not be myself for people to like me. And so I'm a jokester, and I laugh, I joke. And I found myself recently apologizing to one of my friends because I made a joke about her TV not being a smart TV in the 21st century. And it was like a flat screen, and she spent this money on a TV that wasn't a smart TV. And so it offended her. And to me, it was a good joke. You're a friend. I joke, you know. I would have bought you the TV if I had to, but I found myself having to go back and apologize when I really did not feel like I needed to apologize. I felt like I did that just to keep the cool between us, but it's like, it's getting to a point where I'm apologizing so much for being who I am.
Right.
And it's like, when does that stop?
And Sean Joseph just made a really good point in the comments. She said, I had to teach my mom about boundaries. She had no understanding. And see, oftentimes parents think that because they're the parent that they can overstep boundaries. Even like as a child, like, you know, I had my own room growing up, and we had bedroom doors. And I remember my mom feeling like she could just come in. She didn't need to knock. And we had a real, I don't remember how old I was at that point, but I remember having a conversation. I'm like, no, you need to knock on the door. Yes, this is your house, but this is my space over here. You know, it's about boundaries. But in the second paragraph on page 82, I heard Iyanla Vanzant say, what comes out of the cup is for y'all. What's in the cup is mine. And many of you have probably heard her say that. She was on, again, it was like a Super Soul Sunday or one of those conversations that you heard with Oprah. And it just really, really resonated with me, because I've never been one of those people that felt like just because I have something that I'm required or obligated to share that thing. You know, just because a person comes and asks for it.
Right.
You know, you get the liberty, you have the freedom to say no, to set your boundaries.
Right.
But oftentimes we don't feel like, you know, that we can do that. And so on the top of page 83, because again, this chapter is called Envy. And I say, I can remember as a child being excited about getting a new pair of sneakers or scoring perfectly on an assignment at school, but feeling like I couldn't celebrate openly. My parents were always ecstatic and happy to hear about my good news, but my father discouraged me from sharing too much with my friends or cousins. He thought that they might get the wrong impression and feel like I was being boastful. Now, just think about in your life all of the things that you you've accomplished. In my first book, I talk about the character Nina. I think her name was Nina in the first book. When we were really, really close in school, but then when I did the exchange program, when I went away to France, as close as we were, I never talked to her in great detail about what I did on that trip. I was gone for 3 weeks. I never talked to her about what I did on that trip. I never told her about any of the experiences, none of the food. I didn't share anything with her because we didn't have the kind of relationship where I felt like I could share with her without her feeling like I was bragging or being boastful. But again, that stems back or reaches back to childhood, because even as Black people, people of color, oftentimes our parents will say, stop acting like you ain't never had anything. You know, think about all the time sneakers or whatever it is. You got a new doll or whatever it is that you got, a new remote control car and your family, or new clothes, and your family's like, stop acting like you never got anything. Stop bragging. But at what point is it bragging or is it celebrating? At what point does bragging, or at what point does celebrating become bragging?
And we still do that to people today. When we see a not celebrity start flaunting, you be like, oh, that look like somebody. They got new money. They don't know how to handle money.
They don't know how to act.
Yeah, they don't know how to act now that they got this. So that same attitude has now followed us, and we still oppress our own people for celebrating their accomplishments.
And some of that may be in there. Like we scroll through social media and somebody posts their brand new car, or they post their brand new house, the keys to their brand new house. And there's a part of all of us that is like, well, why he had to post that? Why she had to post that? Well, who cares she got a Louis Vuitton purse? Like, why she got the
I don't think so, though. That's in the car. But it's not.
And that's what I'm saying. So at what point is it bragging, or are they just celebrating because they've worked hard for it? Like if you've started your own business and you were in the red for years, and now you finally get in the black and you're able to buy your first home, you're able to buy your first car. Why is it so unacceptable, socially unacceptable, to be able to post your accomplishment and to pat yourself on the back and say, I'm really proud of myself?
It's the self-guilt, because I feel like it's only bragging when you're putting someone else down because of you're saying, I got this, you got that. I got this, but you got that.
Well, the thing is,
that doesn't happen, that self stuff that you got.
For some people, the mere fact that you posted it is you saying, oh, I have this and you don't.
I don't believe in that.
The mere fact that you posted it, for some people, they're like, oh, this bitch.
That's their timeline. Because when you make your dinner, and you feel like that chicken look good, even though it still look like it's dead, and you post that picture, somebody can say you're bragging. You get what I'm saying? Like, but it's the same thing. That's their page.
Listen, I don't even post material things. I get it because I post vegan-friendly foods and products. And they'll say in the comments, they'll say, well, why he got to post out just because he eat healthy? He act like he ate like that all his life. Like, you can't win for losing. But then here's the other part of the conversation. Here's the addendum to what I just said. As Black people, we're quick to say that we want to see other Black people win, and we want to see Black people advance and move forward. But then when it appears that someone Black is moving forward, there's a crop of people that are right there waiting to tear them down and be like, oh, so she thinks she all that now because she got, what, didn't you say you wanted more Black people to be moving in that direction?
Yeah, yeah. Before we move from the Oprah Winfrey, the Iyanla comment, how do you, and I know we're not on the religion chapter, but when you've been taught so much that in order to receive, you have to give, how do you decipher that? Because a lot of people are like, their cup is not full, and it will never get full because they're in their mind, I have to continue to pour out in order to get back. And so they're feeling like the reason why they're able to keep ticking along is because they keep pouring out into people. And so, like, is that a rule? Is that well,
I think that you pour out to people or causes that are well-intentioned. You don't pour out to people that are constantly sitting there with their hands out. You know what I'm saying? You pour out to people, and also you pour out when it's not a sacrifice on your part. You shouldn't have to suffer to help somebody else. Like if you're gonna, like, just think about it in a very, very general term. Like if you're walking down the street or you're driving and you see someone homeless and they're asking you for money or something to eat, you're not going to give them you're not going to give them something that's going to put you in a position. It's the same thing that you have to apply in your regular life, in your real life. If you have a family member or a best friend or someone that's reaching out to you and saying, listen, it's the first of the month. It's May 1st. And I need my rent paid. Now, you may have the money, but that doesn't mean you have it to give. You may have it over in an account, but that doesn't mean you have it to give. And you really have to think about it in terms of, if I give this money and I never get it back, am I going to be okay with that? If I give this money and it changes our relationship, our friendship, will I be okay with that? So you have to look at it from those perspectives, and your heart knows when you're giving. Because if you grieve or you regret giving, because I've given and regretted before.
I think we've.
I've given and thought,
why did
you do that?
Right.
Why did you do that? You know what I'm saying? You really didn't want to. So you have to just kind of weigh it. And then going back to what you said earlier, looking back, you realize that a lot of people that you were friends with in high school weren't really your friends. They were just there because they were always on the receiving end. You were always giving because there was a part of you that was people pleasing. So
we make that, but see, when you say that, it sounds so harsh, right?
What sounds harsh?
People pleasing. Like it sounds like a negative thing. Is it all negative? I don't think
people pleasing is anything that you do because you're trying for the satisfaction of other people. It's not gratifying you.
But is it a negative thing? If I genuinely want to please you and make you happy, is that wrong? If it's not hurting me, it may not be helping me, but if it's not hurting me.
As long as it's not hurting you or putting you in a position, is what I'm saying, in a compromising position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not put in a position where you're now suffering or you're now lacking, it's not an issue. But still, there's a fine line between constantly giving and overgiving and oversharing, because people do it in their friendships, they do it in their relationships, they do it in their family. Like, even if you're not suffering, still sometimes the answer is just no. Like I think about this a lot with Oprah. She has more money than you can even imagine to spend.
Right.
So how does she handle it when family members come to her and say, well, Oprah, I need $10,000 because I need to, I'm about to lose my car, or I need to, pay for my house or whatever. She clearly cannot say I don't have it because she has it. But the answer then becomes, well, I don't feel comfortable doing that. The answer becomes, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And it's really about the work that a person is doing for themselves. And like one of the things that I talk about on here a lot is I always try to encourage people. Look, if you have a passion brewing inside of you and you're trying to start a business, or you're trying to go back to school, or you're trying to buy your first home, for every single step that you take for yourself, God will take 3 for you. But you have to take that first step. But a lot of times people don't take that first step because they can't see the entire road ahead. They can't see how the dots are going to connect. Right? And let's just look at it from the perspective of starting a business. So let's say you want to start a business, a bakery, and you know what you need. You need a space, a brick and mortar. You're going to need the ingredients and all of that stuff. But you don't know all of the steps in terms of how to get the lease. You don't know how to get the building, how to get a commercial license, or whatever it is that you need, right? But what I'm saying to you is, once you take that first step, the universe unfolds. It's not immediate. It's not immediate. It doesn't happen all at once. But what I'm saying is, there were so many steps that I took and I was so nervous to take so many steps because I wasn't sure of what the next step was going to be. Once I got to this point, then where's the next one? But the road will illuminate itself as you continue to go. A basic metaphor, just like when you're driving at night on the highway, you can only see like for a certain amount of yards in front of you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
black out there. You can't see 3 miles down the road,
Yeah.
but you can see that first yard or two, or however long on your vision. You can see that first, but you just keep driving because you know as you go, the road is gonna light up. The same with this. And so you just have to take that first step. But oftentimes people don't take that first step because we want to know every single twist, every single turn. What are the obstacles going to be along the way? But I'm here to tell you, as soon as you take those first steps, people will show up in your life. Perfect strangers will show up in your life because they see the calling on your life.
Right.
Whatever it is that you're called to do. Again, it could be a restaurant, it could be a daycare center, it could be a school. Like, people will show up when they see you working on your vision, your dream, your goal. Your friends will step up, not always the ones that you think are going to be the ones.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Family members will show up. You know what I mean? Like, the universe will supply you with everything you need. And I remember being in college, and Susan L. Taylor, she's the former editor-in-chief of Essence Magazine. She said one day, I went to hear her speak. She came to Hampton. And I'll never forget, she said, there isn't anything that you can't do.
Right.
Can't shouldn't even be in your vocabulary because you are the descendant of slaves that would not die. You're here because they would not quit. They made it through the months of riding on a slave ship with disease, with sickness, all of those things. You're here because they did not die. So there's nothing that this life that you're living, there's nothing that this life is serving you that you can't get through.
Right.
If you're able to get through that, you can get through. There's nothing here that you can get through.
Right.
And I always remember that.
And when you speak about Oprah, you got to wonder, another question you would have is, first of all, what type of access to her family has to get to her? And you talk about it in this chapter about the time where you're going to get to a place where moving forward means letting go of some people, or moving forward means severing some connections that you have with other people. And I wrote a post on last week about that, because I was so concerned about people of today getting my vision and catching my passion and pushing me forward. And, it was just spoken so clearly to me. It was like, keep going. And one day the audience of today won't matter. Right. And so I think a lot of times we try to get everything together for the people that are here now, and it's not working because they're not the audience for our vision. They're not the ones that are supposed to get the vision.
Yeah. You reminded me of something. I'm going to say the first thing first, and then I'm going to say the other thing second because I'll forget. When I first started writing this book, I was reading Instincts by T.D. Jakes. And I had to put the book down because I knew that it was because I had already started writing this book. This was years ago. But I had to put Instincts down because I didn't want to be influenced by what he was talking about. But in that book, I remember him saying, you cannot give your dreams to turtles.
Okay.
You can't share your dream with turtles. You have to share your dream with people with giraffe eyesight. From down.
That's a good one.
That you said to me that reminded me of something that a high school teacher said to me. And just to give you up, because I love a story.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, in the 10th grade, I'll never forget, I had this teacher. It was a white woman. And I do believe that this lady was racist. I think she had a little twinge of racism. And we would come into the classroom and she would just kind of look at us, like this.
Oh God.
And the white student, she would say, "Hey, good morning, Lindsay." She would, she'd perk up, she'd smile. And then when one of the black students, she was an English teacher, so we had a lot of literature to read. And I remember one of the black students, whenever the black students didn't know the answer, she would kind of laugh and she would say their name. "Oh, so you didn't do your reading?" She would just make a spectacle of them. And I remember not really applying myself in this class. And I don't know if it's because I just didn't like her. And at the time, my energy was misdirected because in an effort to annoy her, I didn't apply myself. But that wasn't really annoying her. That was affecting me. But I remember not really applying myself. And I remember we had a writing assignment and I didn't read the literature. And I went and got the Cliff's Notes. And, I didn't even finesse the language, right? I didn't even finesse the language. I pretty much wrote it verbatim. I didn't know that she was, engaged with the Cliff's Notes. Well, she handed me my assignment and she gave me a D. And so, I had the unmitigated goal to challenge her and be like, well, why did I get, what you give me this for?
Right.
And so I will never forget. I was standing in front of her. She was sitting at a desk and I was standing in front of her. And underneath her chair, because, she just let me ramble and, pull her together and all of those things. And she just looked at me. She said, Craig, and she held up the paperwork. And she said, Craig, where did you get this? Where did you get this stuff that you put in here? And I said, I got it from my brain. Like, what do you mean? And she hit me with one of these. When I said she reached down under the chair and I kind of got a gander of what she was doing, I kind of leaned over and looked and I saw the Cliff's Notes up under her chair. She said, well, and she read a passage and then she read a passage from my paperwork. She said, well, see, you didn't get this from your brain because you got this from Mr. Cliff's Notes. Baby, when I pulled me all the way together, she had pulled me all the way together. But to wrap up the story, she said to me, you're not applying yourself. And even if I thought this lady was a racist, she pulled me all the way together in that moment. And she said, you're not applying yourself. She said, because you're too busy laughing and making friends. She said, 5 years after you graduate high school, you won't even remember these people's names. When I tell you it changed my life, it changed my life. She said, 5 years after you graduate, you won't even remember half of these people's names. And what that said to me was, they're not even going to be important to you. They're going to be so insignificant. Not that their lives don't matter,
right?
But they're going to be so insignificant to you because you're not even going to remain in contact with these people.
Right.
Why are you sitting here performing for them? Like, you need to be in here applying yourself. She said, you're trying to go to college. And it changed my life. And when I tell you, I really started applying myself, I became one of her favorites. I became one of her favorites. And, and so there you have it. And I mean, I just feel like if I could have taken that lesson and gone backwards with it and gotten it sooner in life, it would have changed the course of a lot of things.
Yeah, I think we waste our resources on people, and then that's why. And then we eventually give up on it, and we don't do it. And the people that really need it don't ever get it because we waste it or whatever.
Right. So on page 83, again, we're still speaking from chapter 5. It's called Envy, out of Book of Jewels. On page 83, this is the second paragraph down. I was taught not to speak too openly or boldly about the things that I had or the things that I had accomplished because it would be perceived as bragging. And my dad, in particular, didn't want my cousins to feel less fortunate. In hindsight, I'm jumping to paragraph 3. I understand his reasoning, but it confused me for a bit because I started to believe that I couldn't openly acknowledge the things I did well. I carried that belief throughout most of my adult life, which resulted in me shrinking in many spaces out of fear that I would be perceived as trying to overshadow other people. Now think about how many times you've worked a job, or you were in graduate school, or you were in undergraduate school or whatever, you were working a job and you didn't fully, you may have applied yourself, but you didn't really show them all of your magic because you cared about what people thought. You didn't want people to think that you were an overachiever or you were trying to outdo them or, get brownie points and all. Like, think about all of the times that you diminished yourself. In relationships, you've diminished yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And again, going back to me, and again, I'm not saying that there aren't other cultures that do that, but as a Black person, I know that a lot of that I adopted from being raised by a Black family. Like, you're taught that you can't really celebrate yourself.
Yeah.
That's why many people can't even accept a compliment.
Right.
You get bashful in the face of a compliment. Somebody compliments you, you're like, it's nothing. It's just a little picked up. Or somebody says, oh my God, you have beautiful eyes. You get so bashful because you don't know how to receive a compliment.
Right. And I think the parents and the grandparents, they don't celebrate. Like, I went through a lot of A's and president's list, but it wasn't celebrated. But if you got your cousin who usually makes D's and now they got a C, we need to go out to eat. But I think we miss the point that that person that is doing good still needs that celebration, still needs that. And I go through it a lot where, you know, I'm going back home and my grandmother now, she's even conscious. She's like, okay, don't talk about that during this time. Or we'll talk about that later. She'll say, we'll talk about that later. But you would think that it should be brought, and that's where we ask the question, where is it bragging or where is it helping? Because it should be, yeah, it should be brought up so that they can see. Because, you know, when I found out what one of my family members was making, I'm like, no, they're underpaid for what they're doing. And I started speaking my mind, but it looked as though my grandmother was like, you can't do that because you make this much and you don't know, that could be a lot. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't care. I'm taking family out of it.
He's selling himself or she's selling herself.
Yeah, like you can get so much more for doing what you're doing. And it's
this is what I'm saying also. It's like when you shrink, you sometimes cut yourself off at the foot, because then you don't even have the wherewithal or the courage to go into your boss's office and say, listen, this is my worth. This is what I need to be paid for. To even ask for a raise. Like you don't even know your value. Like you're afraid to ask for your worth. And again, it applies to everything. Even in relationships, you're afraid to demand your worth in a relationship. You jump into a relationship because you're afraid to wait for what you deserve. You're afraid that you don't think that a man or a woman is going to rise up to your standards. So you should.
I think that's embedded in us in so many ways that we don't know. And that's why even now it's hard for me, some scriptures in the Bible, it's hard for me to read because they literally say, servants, obey your masters, keep your mouth shut. Like literally says, keep your mouth shut, obey your masters, and do what your masters tell you, your earthly masters. And so like, I think that's embedded in that. And so it's that service attitude. Let me serve you. How can I serve you? And I'll take whatever I can for serving you.
And the reason that this chapter, I want to underscore this. The reason that this chapter is called envy is because I think we sometimes confuse bragging with celebrating oneself, and it all points back to envy or jealousy. So, like for example, in the very last chapter on page 83, I said I minimized my accomplishments because I didn't want to be misunderstood or mislabeled as self-centered, or any of the other things that people say when they're intimidated by you. What I know is that people are either inspired by you or intimidated because of you. The truth is, people who feel equally as accomplished don't grade you in that way. I love that phrasing there. And I mean, I know I wrote it, but I love that. I love the way that I phrased that there, because it's true. Like when I think about all of the times that someone was jealous of me, even if they didn't know me. I remember going to college. I'm gonna come back to that. Remind me to come back to the person in college. But whenever I've been in a space and somebody is jealous of me, it's either because they feel uncomfortable about where they are in their space in life or their station in life. Because generally speaking, when you're in a room with people who are equally doing their thing and self-satisfied with where they are in life, they're not jealous of you.
There's a vibe. Yeah.
They're not comparing themselves to you. You know, they're inspired by you, in fact, and you inspire each other. But I remember being in college, and there's a guy that I remember seeing him on campus, but I never knew his name. And when I finally found out his name, it was like I heard it through some other people. Long story short, this boy had a secret vendetta against me. And I didn't know it. He did not like me. Listen, me and this boy, we had never even had a conversation. Never had a conversation. We didn't even move in the same circles. We knew some of the same people, but we didn't move in the same circles. Fast forward, and then mind you, he was like a year or two behind me in college. Fast forward, I moved to Atlanta. I probably had been living in Atlanta for probably about 5 years, because when I finally got him together, I remember saying to him, I said, I've been living in Atlanta. I think it may have been 5 or 8 years I had been in Atlanta. And I said to him, I've been living in Atlanta. I graduated 5 or 8 years ago, because he confronted me at a party. Years after I graduated from college. And we were standing in a conversation. We were standing in a group, and somehow somebody said, "Oh my God, I need to introduce you, Craig, to such and such." I'm not gonna say his name. I need to introduce you to him because you two are so much alike. Like I've always told him that you're like him,
Wow.
you know. And this other person used to tell me the same thing. I said, "Oh, I know who he is because we went to college together, but I don't know him." Well, in that moment when this person was trying to introduce us at the party, he says, "Oh no, I don't want to meet him. I don't like him." I looked at him and I chuckled. I said, "You don't like me?" I said, "I don't even know you." I said, "I don't even know your name." At this point, the people, they looking. I said, "I don't even know your name." I said, "You clearly have low self-esteem." I said, "Because I don't know anything about you. And here you are carrying this vendetta 8 years after we graduated college and you don't like me." And so in that moment, it clicked for him. And he said, "You know what, Craig? You're right." He said, "I don't know you." He said, "And I just want to apologize." He said, in that moment, he said, "I just want to apologize." He said, "I'm sorry." He said, he went to shake my hand and said, "Can you accept my apology?" He said, he said, "I had really low self-esteem in college." And he said, "And you were the opposite." He said, his words, not mine, "You were everything I wanted to be in college." And he said, "I had low self-esteem." He said, "You were popular. You had all of the friends, all of these things." And he said, "Do you accept my apology?" He went to shake my hand. I said, "No." I said, "I'm good." And I walked away because how do you have that type of envy? Or at this point, that was
that was years of built up emotion.
So again, going back to that last paragraph, people are either intimidated by you or inspired because of you.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so this is one of my favorite chapters. This is one of my absolute favorite chapters. And again, it wasn't even a chapter at first. It was a part of another section, and I had broken it up. But the editor broke it up and made it its own thing. I do want to share this one little piece right here before we go. I'm looking at. Linda said, "I didn't know we were on tonight." Yes, niece, we're talking about chapter 5. You know, Fridays are the days that we talk about the chapter of Jules. So here it is. It's chapter 4. I'm sorry, page 84, paragraph 4. Our white counterparts have been taught the opposite. As children, they're praised for everything they do, from the smallest to the most significant thing, which may explain some of the entitlements and privileges that many white folks enjoy. This isn't to suggest that Black folks should model or emulate white people. Rather, it's more of an observation. And I just think that, you know, again, it goes back to, I think, how we raise our children, how we talk to our children. I think we should teach our children more how to celebrate and celebrate their accomplishments and the things that they do well, and highlight those things instead of telling them to suppress it and to hide it. But it even goes back to like one of the conversations that we had before about the way that we teach our children, and the way that linguistically, oftentimes, not all of the time, white children usually speak more fluently at an earlier age, because we don't always speak to our children using whole language.
Right.
And oftentimes we say, "Get your baba, get your baba, come on, get your bottle." You know, change your pitch. "Hey baby, get your bottle." You know, you can do that, but we don't speak to our children in whole language. And so oftentimes it takes us longer to develop the language and to learn the language and to get a grip and a handle on the English language, because first of all, it's not even our native tongue. Let's start there, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, the last part I want to bring out is, especially when you use the word lonely on page 85, it caused me to think about how the reason why I think I'm a little bit more comfortable in who I am and not apologizing for who I am is because I have had time of loneliness and knowing myself. And you were like, this period of extreme solitude allowed me to reevaluate my life. It was lonely because I was transitioning from one phase of life to the next, and I was forced to leave behind people who were once a support system for me. And it's like, I think I'm in a season in my life where I can't compromise who I am. I can't not be who I am for an individual who feels like I should be this way. And that only came from having time, because when you're out in front of the people, it's a constant people pleasing, constant, and you're getting, but when you're by yourself, it's all about you, and I think during this time of isolation, I've had a lot of time to just, think about who I am and really fall in love with myself, fall in love with my own humor. Like, I'm a funny guy, fall in love with my smile, fall in love with my jokes. If nobody else laughs at my jokes, I think my jokes are funny. If nobody else thinks I can sing or write music, because some of my friends, they don't support my music writing skills. And so I love my music, what I'm saying? So they don't have to. You know what I'm saying? And so in this season, it's just forcing me at, like, when I read that lonely word, it just hit a trigger, because it's like, it caused me to let me know that lonely doesn't always mean a negative thing. Sometimes being alone and being by yourself will cause you to fall in love with your own self.
Yeah, it's important to be in that solitude, and like this whole pandemic has forced all of us, and I hope that many of you have used this time to really self-reflect. Someone purchased books. She purchased this book actually the other day. She's in Jersey. It's someone that I know. She used to live here, and she messaged me on Instagram the other day and said, "Oh my God, you have a 4th book? Where have I been?" And I said, "I don't know, but it's been out for a minute." And so, long story short, she said, "Let me go over here to this website right now and purchase this book." And so we just kind of had a little banter back and forth. And she said to me, "It's crazy up here in Jersey." She said, "I'm so ready to be outside again." She said, "But this forced solitude has been powerful for me." She said, "Because I've done some much needed self-reflecting." She said, "I even got a therapist." She said, "And I have grown exponentially, because you're forced to deal with yourself." And so for me, a lot of what I wrote in this particular chapter, with this book, period, came from, because like I said, you guys know, I started writing this book 8 years ago, and it's just been kind of manifesting and marinating, if you will, on my computer. But a lot of the growth and the enlightenment that I've gotten came through my self-reflection during my depression. It was during a depression. So, like, even though I was in that functional depression, I was doing some inner work. Like, I was really, really thinking. I was really, really thinking.
That's cool.
But yeah, so Francine says, "I'm 55 years old and I'm just learning to love me and not put others before myself." And that's a lesson that a lot of mothers don't get. A lot of times they put everyone else on the list first, and then they burnt out and tired at the end of the day. And it goes back to, I've shared with you guys before about my mom and having to be on dialysis and that kind of thing. And that at one point being really frustrated and upset that she hadn't, quote unquote, prioritized her health. But then one of her girlfriends really made me see one day. She said, "But Craig, you got to remember, she was a single mother and an entrepreneur. And then after she raised you, she had to turn around and raise your sister's kids." So my mom, just think of basic cause and effect. The cause was, taking care of everyone else, putting everybody else on the list first. The effect of that was mental health. Not eating properly, not really taking care of herself, or putting herself on a fitness diet because she was exhausted. Again, going back to page number 1, she gave to the point that she was sacrificing herself for everybody else. And I think that's a perfect way to lead this conversation for you guys to think about that. But again, Andrew, thank you very much. Yes, Jackie said, "I like how Andrew is in there with you every week." I appreciate it too. It really makes it easier to have this conversation, to kind of bounce it off of somebody else, because the way that I intend for you to read these words and to get these words may not be the exact way that you receive it. So I appreciate that. So listen, if you want to purchase the books, you can. Those books are available right here at CraigTheWriterStewart.com. Alicia, somebody's asking to purchase the books. Yeah, just go over to CraigTheWriterStewart.com. Into your shipping address and all of that stuff, and we'll ship these orders out for you. All right. I'm laughing at the comments now. Listen, I appreciate you guys for being here. I know I missed yesterday. Was it yesterday? Was that the only day I missed? I missed yesterday.
I think so, yeah.
But one day, Tyrone Davis said he got his book. Perfect.
But you come on tomorrow because of that.
Yeah, so I missed. I love you too, Francine. I missed twice though because one Tuesday when we did Do You Want the Smoke? We were on for 3 hours and I just did not have the energy to give you guys Tuesday night. So going back to the book, I did not sacrifice any more of myself.
Yes.
Any more of myself.
Love you too. Love you too.
Yeah. So but here's what I will tell you. I've announced this the other day in my Patreon. My girl Lavene and I are going to be we're going to do a special live on Sunday. I will be live on Sunday at 7 p.m. She and I are going to cook for you. We're going to be virtually just like this. She's going to be in her home and I'm going to be here. And we're going to cook a vegan meal for you guys. Okay.
Yes.
Never tasted it. She's never tasted it. It's a recipe she sent me. So she has all of the things, all of the accoutrement to make this meal on Sunday. And I have those things as well. And so Sunday, to make up for one of these days that I wasn't on here. All right. And then this coming Wednesday of next week, that's May 6th, I'm doing a special panel discussion with Derek J. We're going to do a special panel conversation. It's called The Unspoken Dating Rules. No facts, no femmes. So hopefully you guys will be here for that. All right. So listen, you guys have an amazing weekend. I appreciate you for being here. And for those of you that sent something through the Cash App, let me go say my thank you. You may have sent something on Friday, and I want to be in a space of gratitude. Amen. Thank you, Carla, Mildred, Mantra, Marcellus. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. Have an amazing weekend. Oh, Andrew, you about to give books? Who doesn't have a book?
I was going to give 2 books tonight. Anybody wants a book? Yes.
Is there anybody here that needs a book? Andrew is being generous.
Going once, going twice.
Andrew is being generous. Get the typing, niece. Typing.
Francine Edwards. You got it.
Oh, Francine Edwards.
Yep. And then Alicia Crockett.
Okay, Francine Edwards and Alicia Crockett. Can you please do me a favor and just go over to my website? It's right here, CraigTheWriterStewart.com. Just click on contact and send me your name and your address. I need a physical address, not a P.O. box, please. And then tell me which book you want. I'm assuming, are you gifting this book? What book are you gifting, Andrew? Which book?
I guess it's the Book of Jewels. Yeah, go ahead.
You want them to do Book of Jewels? Or
Either one.
You guys both have this book?
Miss Queen said, I said me.
She said, I said me first. Miss Queen Making Mark said,
let's give her one too. Let's just give her one too then.
All right, so Miss Queen Making Marks, email me at CraigTheWriterStewart.com, please. Okay, she said, Francine said she needs this book. I think Alicia needs this book too. Okay, so the 3 of you, Miss Queen Making Marks, I need your real name though. Tell me your YouTube name in the email, but just give me your name and your address and I'll ship those books out to you, okay? Just go over to CraigTheWriterStewart.com. Don't forget to do it, y'all, because sometimes they forget. I don't know how they be asking for a free book and then they forget. Days and weeks later, they're like, I got a book like 2 weeks ago. Niece, I already gave all the books away, niece. I'm sorry.
All right.
Look, Miss Queen Making Marks is still putting her timestamp. Niece, we got you. Just go over. I did. I asked for it at 9:57.
And if you watch this back, you will see that you did not.
Right. Look at Rita. We had someone on Facebook. Watch this. Well, Rita, did you want to gift them the book on Facebook, Rita? Watch this. She gonna clear the room. She gonna clear the room, niece.
I'm on my best behavior, Pamela.
You want one more? What you mean, Bianca?
I ain't got the time for me right now.
Bianca said you want one more. Thank you, Ashlyn. I just got your Cash App. Thanks, niece.
Zelle or Cash App? Zelle.
Miss Queen Making Marks. Don't forget to put your YouTube name. Sign up. All right, listen. I don't know what Bianca means when she says you want one more.
Yeah, what do you mean, Bianca?
You gonna gift one more book? Can she see this talking about whole life?
YouTube, make me like the video. Like the video right now, YouTube.
Look, Rita said, No, y'all was looking on YouTube. Niece, I see all the comments. I see Facebook and YouTube coming through. She trying to tell me how to run the system. Rita, you trying to come on production? You trying to work for production? Okay, Bianca is going to gift one book too. So is there one more person who needs a book? Who needs a book, niece? Let's watch the timestamp because we don't.
Now, we did have Pamela on YouTube needed. She said one earlier. Wait, now Miss Queen gifted a book, but Miss Queen, which book? Because the
I should have a gift a piece of a book. Miss Queen, get here. Thank you.
Send the link. I got you, Linda. Linda want to be in the StreamYard right quick. You got time, Craig, or you doing something?
No. Go ahead. I just dropped it in there.
A piece of a book. I like that, Miss Queen. You gave back.
So this Facebook person said, I would like one, but I don't know who that is. It doesn't show your name. I'm not sure who that is. Bye-bye, call me MJ. Did Bianca say if she cared whether or not it was on, if we gifted it on Facebook or
I don't think so. Bianca's on Facebook, right? So let's give Bianca the Facebook one, and then I'll do another one for Pamela, and I'll send it right now.
Okay, Pamela
on YouTube. Pamela.
Is she still in here?
Pamela, let's see if she's still in here.
Please go over to CraigTheWriterStewart.com and send me your name and your address and just let me know that Andrew gifted a book. Jackie Johnson, I'm going to gift you Bianca's book. You need this book, right, Jackie? Bianca, I got it. Bianca sent it. Thank you, Bianca. I appreciate you.
So much to say, or it's okay to write. Which one? No. I'll tell you. The tears start coming down. You crying?
Who is?
On YouTube, my black is beautiful. Hey, Linda.
I can't see you. Okay, can you all see me?
We can see you. This is my auntie, y'all.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, I want to say to the ladies out there, you see, I'm not looking my best, so don't let that stop you from coming on here, because I need some ladies there to help me represent. Okay? Yeah. So don't let you stop from coming on, and don't forget, Monday is Craig's birthday.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
So let's not forget that. Happy birthday, Craig.
Thank you.
So ladies, don't let that stop you from coming on, because you see, I'm not looking my best, but come on.
Me either.
Some representation now.
Yes, I want to hear from more ladies.
People are saying, "Where's April?" April, they calling you out. YouTube is calling you out.
Women out.
Where's April?
Yes. April said she wasn't coming on because her hair wasn't done.
But you know what, Craig? I'm not getting the notification saying that when we're having these discussions anymore.
I'm gonna have to
No, you may need to reset, Linda. You may need to go into the settings of your YouTube app and reset, or
And do what? And do what?
So you can either go in your app and where it says send notifications, reset it in your app settings.
Okay.
Or you can go to YouTube and take off your notifications and put them back on, just kind of to refresh it and see if that works.
Okay.
But Linda, I'm going to be on here Sunday because Labane and I, we're going to cook. We're going to do a meal. She's going to be at her house and I'll be here and we're going to do a meal.
Right. Well, I got that with the sweet potatoes.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah, because I'm a Patreon member, so I got
right.
I know. But you know what, Craig? You got me buying all this stuff. I mean, my goodness.
Really?
All this stuff. But you know what?
You could come on too to cook.
But you know what? I'm so afraid with all this meat stuff going on now. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna be whatever, but I'm still gonna cut some of that meat out.
Yeah. A friend of mine from California called me today and he said, this is probably the best time, one of the best decisions that you made to not be eating meat. He said, because right now with all this foolishness with this meat and Corona, Crystal, we're going to be cooking Sunday at 7 p.m.
Right.
Sunday at 7 p.m.
Right.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you, Linda. I really, really do.
Well, you know I love you, Craig, and Andrew.
I
I,
love you too.
I can't wait to meet you. I hope I get to meet you.
I'm gonna meet you one day, Craig. You better believe that now. And Andrew, you better be there too.
I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
I'm gonna be there.
Ah, all right. Have a good night.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Bye, guys. Love
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Be safe.
Bye bye.
All right. All right, Andrew.
All right.
I think we got everybody though. Andrew, what you gifted? 3, 4, 3, 4,
Mhm. 4.
4, and then Bianca.
Bianca gifted 1.
Craig,
Mhm.
Craig,
Mm-hmm.
Craig, you hear me?
I can hear you.
You need to check your P.O. box at least by Saturday.
P.O. Box. Okay. All right. I will.
Or Monday at the latest.
Okay. I'm gonna check it Monday because crazy enough, they're not even open on Saturday and Sunday.
Really?
Mhm.
I don't understand why you can't go in there and yeah.
Okay, but check it Monday, Craig.
Okay, I will.
Okay, love
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My helper, look at me. Bye. I look like a
Bye-bye.
wolf. A wolf. But
Hey, don't worry about it, you know.
Right.
right.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Like I say, ladies, come on board now. Don't have me out here by myself. Come on
Okay.
board, ladies.
We got some beautiful black women and
Yeah.
white, all women.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Jackie Johnson says she's trying to send her shipping address, but it's not going through. No,
Thanks, P. Marcel.
no, needs.
Right.
Are you over at CraigTheWriterStewart.com? Let me see if the other ladies sent their addresses. Well, niece is working for Alicia. Alicia sent hers. Alicia Rocket, I got hers. She said gifted a free book by Andrew. It's working.
Yes, Alicia Wells. Y'all got to call in. You, Tiffany Smith Bell, all these famous names I done seen since I've been here need to call in.
Oh, here's another one.
That's right.
Queen Harriet. Oh, that's Queen. This Queen making marks. Okay, I got hers.
Okay. Thanks, Norman
It's
Ross.
working. Jackie, if it's easier for you, just email me bookthewriter@gmail. Bookthewriter@gmail.
Put that up because you was breaking up. Say it again. You were breaking up. Say it again.
Oh, just email bookthewriter@gmail.com. Bookthewriter@gmail.com. YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button on the videos, please.
That's right. That's right.
Miss Linda.
That's right.
That's right.
Y'all crazy.
All right, listen, you guys have an amazing night. I will see you guys Sunday.
Bye, y'all.
Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right. Bye-bye.